Alright. Hello everyone, welcome to another video. It's me, Solid, and great to have you here. So, let's actually talk a little bit about CCC. So, it's been a bit, it's been a minute, and happy Friday for those of you watching on Friday, and happy every other day of it, and happy every other day for those of you not watching on Friday. So, what can we say, right? So, it's been approximately over a month for me to play, having played a little bit of CCC. What ended up happening over the course of this time is I've managed to get myself from level 8, give or take, to level 40. So what has been my experience so far? And to summarize it, it's been a pain. A royal pain in the ass. We're past a minute. We are... Nope, we're not. Whatever. Regardless. I don't care. I really don't care too much on this one. So, at the moment, after spending enough time in this game, I've come to a couple of realizations. So, for starters, a lot of the systems are genuinely really tedious. I haven't really necessarily been enjoying myself, although I have been spending quite a lot of time comparatively to Wuthering Waves in comparison. The polls haven't been quite as good, and granted, I haven't necessarily been spending as much time as other games, and I didn't really play it from the beginning. I have just been struggling to really just play it a bit more. There was a really nice event that I actually did. I really liked their game mode, and I'll give them kudos for that one. But my main issue with this is that I want more difficulties, to be honest, on this one. But aside from that, so I was gonna make a whole video summoning on Jane Doe, but I'm gonna say it like it is, I shit you not. This character made me suffer so much that I can't believe I'm even trying to attempt to pull another character at this point. I want to show you the details on my pulls. So overall, the standard rate is let me see. 1.6%, which is worse rates than CCC, or than Wuthering Waves. I actually had to double check it. In Wuthering Waves, we have 0.8% chance to get a like 5 stars S rank, whatever you call it. What tires me out is the kind of the obfuscation of what the quality is. This is essentially like the highest ranking characters types. I got her. I got Jane Doe, and I definitely could have played from the beginning of the game, but my luck has been so terrible, absolutely astoundingly terrible, that I've gone every other character that I don't like or care for. I've gone Poleta Billabog, and most people would probably reset. I had a friend of mine that did a lot more research than I'd like to even think about, but he kind of already quit the game, to be completely honest with you. I got a dupe for Poleta Billabog. Wasn't necessarily the worst thing, but my main issue is not necessarily getting those characters. It's losing back-to-back 50-50s. I have gotten only guaranteed so far, and for me, well, as much of a fan as I am of spending 3 hours a day playing the game, it starts to hurt at some points, and especially not getting like good characters, it also hurts. While 4-star characters, or well, the equivalent of 4-star characters, aren't necessarily not max at this point, because I have gone a couple characters max. Ambi, for example, which I have thought about using her, but it's not quite as much of time spent maxing her out, because I've just been spending time on everybody else. Because having one decent character is still nearly impossible. Yeah, I don't have her max. 1 out of 6, 6, 0 to 6, 2 out of 5, 6, 6, yep, 1. But let me riddle this. So, riddle me this, right? So I've got one DPS character overall. One decent one. These other characters, these... Okay, so we got 1, 2... No, that's not 1. 1... Actually, we can actually divide this between actual physical or attack types. So we have attack and anomaly. All these characters are technically considered under attack. I think I have my man here. I don't have a max. I have him quite a bit. No, actually I have him once. But no, every single one of these characters has really just been kind of disappointing. She doesn't handle bad, but pardon me. But I just haven't been wanting to use these characters. That's my main issue. And a lot of people will kind of surmise that I'll tell you specifically. So I just like to kind of fight a lot of bosses and a lot of like enemies counterintuitively to the game itself. I have been playing essentially for the majority of the time with 2 characters. Now listen here. So it is actually possible to beat most of the game modes with 2 characters. Is it really quite as enjoyable? Yeah, it's about the same, realistically. I just spam one button whenever I want to swap. Having to be a little bit more skilled is the main thing, which is perfectly fine. I have been a lot of content that I can at the current moment with only 2 characters. I've been sheer defense, and I have been a lot of stages with essentially the equivalent of just mostly skill. This game is difficult in certain prospects. In the prospect that a lot of like the iframes have been genuinely really, really bad. I have not been able to quite so much enjoy my fights because either bosses have randomly unnecessarily high amounts of health, or randomly they will have what feels like no health. And I'll tell you right now, so God, my ears. So I actually messed up my headphones, and I'm actually getting some soonish, but regardless. So for me, a lot of the game mode has just been farming every single day, going here, checking out the sheer defense force, because I need 2 teams in essence, right? And while I can actually clear it theoretically now, my main issue kind of ends up being that in order for me to clear this, so let's see. So what my team, okay, so team 1, team 2. So what I actually need to do in my case, right, since I actually have leveled up my characters enough that I realistically would only need 1 or 2, and I could actually probably do this with 1 or 2 characters. It is, to me, relatively simplistic to beat it with 1 character. It just starts becoming a little bit of a drag. Most of the game is perfectly doable with only 2 characters, and even doable with 1. I cleared most of the content with 1 character. You want difficulty? I've done it difficult. One of the biggest things is that it's the DPS check and a lot of, like, really just kind of congruency. A lot of the things are kind of locked behind at least having 2 characters. And while having the synergy systems kind of being a thing, it can be a little bit detrimental because you don't get the full bonuses that you should be able to get. I originally just wanted to play with 1 character because I absolutely despise the chain mechanic because I can't swap the particular character that I want. However, in my case, what I ended up really having to do, which is really just give up in a little bit of the prospect of having to give in to certain game mechanics, which are kind of just really just auto at the end of the day because of the way I play. And what I mean is exactly what I mean. So if I play here, right? So in the case of something like this, let me actually show you. I play with Jane Doe, I play with Coletta Bellabog, and I play with my man here. It is the Bang Baldur Bang Boop. I have him pretty maxed out. I've got Jane, level 50 at this point. I maxed her out today. It didn't take that long. I have decentish artifacts, and by artifacts I mean like little CDs that they have. They're pretty okay. I have been kind of spending a lot of time on it, but I haven't just been able to get much out of it because I've been trying to farm other materials for the new character that came out, Caesar, and which hasn't given me any like real luck, to be completely honest with you. But aside from that, if we take a look at me fighting, pardon me for dragging you through this, I'm gonna showcase you what I've been doing for the past month. Actually, at this point, it's been a month since I've been logged in. It's been a month of me kind of playing it aggressively because of Jane Doe. Which actually let me explicitly say. So Jane Doe, for me, was I lost my 50-50. I lost it early at around 40 pulls, and then I had to go 80 to get the character banner. I started doing single pulls is how desperate I started getting. Single pulls. I don't like single pulls. And if I showcase you here, what ends up happening is, since I typically just like clicking the left click button, what ends up just happening in such a case is that, actually, pardon me for a moment, I need to check something out because I need to stop something real quick. One moment. Okay, I had to stop. Oh, wow. I can really hear my own thoughts. That is really loud. Yeah, no, but I ended up breaking my headphones, right? So what ended up happening is, what I ended up having to do is... Okay. But, okay, so yeah, what ended up happening is I ended up stopping my headphones just now because I need to hear the audio, because otherwise I get really confused. It's really this like, dissonance, to be completely honest, because I end up getting really loud when I have headphones on, but what ends up happening if I don't have them on is I get really quiet. Aside from that, so in the case for this fights, it's always been just... Because what I ended up having to do over time, right? Okay. Let me explain to you, like, real quick, because I'm like, kind of fighting, right? So what I ended up having to do with these fights specifically is having to essentially dodge half the fights, and it is not necessarily bad up until we start talking about the amount of time some of these fights take, and some of the fights that are towards the end game, since I don't have some of the units quite leveled up enough, nor with proper artifacts, so to say, they start being a little bit tedious. I spent 7 minutes on a boss fight.
No escape.
And I have her maxed out. I'll show you in a minute how maxed out I have her. It's not super crazy maxed out. But my main issue was with this mechanic. Whenever you swap out, and it's based on stunning, which I didn't know before. I've been like running like a maniac trying to understand why my characters keep swapping out. And I didn't know it was based on the stun mechanic, which basically now gives me at least a factor of how to tell I'm about to swap, which just should be really confusing, mind you. And at times, really unnecessary, in my opinion. Which this boss, by the way, can hurt me quite a bit. And in this case, for these fights, so these guys hit really bad. And in the case for this guy, he kind of hurts. So one of the biggest things that I had to learn with him is don't get hit. But one of my main issues with when I first tried this guy is I had no equipment on. And I've already beat this fight completely in, I just beat it now, but I want to show you, because I already had this beat at S rank. I beat this in about 4 minutes before. Or I beat this in whatever this amount of time is, more than 360 seconds remaining. But I beat this in about 4 minutes before. This fight is fine. What ends up happening is that not only do you need to have every single character maxed, you need to have every single character just, like, decked out, like, period, like, pinpoint blank. Like, I have absolutely terrible luck. I cannot rely on that. I absolutely despise that so much. I despise it so much, I don't have most of these artifacts leveled up. The only ones that I have leveled up are these two, and they're kind of bad, to say the least. And from my understanding, this doesn't matter on her, apparently. But it just doesn't make a difference because these things are so bad and they're so difficult to get. I have been farming a lot of these for at least a couple of days. And again, personally, the system's whatever, and it could be a lot worse, but it's the same stuff as Genshin. I have seen my brother absolutely farming equipment for literal days and probably towards weeks, to be completely honest with you.
Which alias?
Now, the problem is, that's for one character. I've only been able to build her. Half. In quotations, half. Every other character that I own, not even half the damage she has. Not even half. Her, not even half. Her, basically max. Practically max. Now, the next issue is that I also need to upgrade their skills, which takes up an eternity. And I've been, like, farming a couple of times. And granted, it's just been, like, because you haven't been farming at, like, high levels. The next problem is that trying to farm as much as you can when you, like, the game's like a little bit. Pardon me. Which city? It tends to, this game's actually been stable enough, other than like in particular areas, it's actually been more stable than Wuthering Waves on PC, at least for me. It's not necessarily, it's about the same kind of stability. Granted, my graphics are kind of low, as low can be. If you are willing to play this, lower your display mode to the lowest. I clicked Alt Enter. This lowers the quality of the frame, as well as if you change this rendering, 0.8 rendering is really good. Anti-aliasing, I'm not sure actually. The thing they added different things recently. Yeah, that is a couple of different ones. But yeah, this game has been more stable since I just kind of subbed like the J rendering. But my main point is, I think my game might be a little bit laggy. I think our internet might be like dying a little bit. Pardon me. Thankfully, the recording is not dependent on the game. But yeah, no, since we had the, I believe I think Hurricane Helene has been a little bit bad, at least internet-wise. Pardon me, I guess. Well, might have to skip to where in the internet section. Yep, no, disconnected. Yeah, so I'll double check on this. Hold on a moment. Yeah, our internet seems to have been a little bit odd recently, but aside from that, yeah, no. So the game has been really like laggy at random points, but like the biggest thing I have to praise is their minigames are pretty good. I like their minigames, if anything, just kind of come here for the minigames. They're actually really, really nice. That's all I can say. In the case because here's the thing, right? So I have been getting the same characters. I had an issue actually. If I show you, where's the thing? Is it here? One moment. Okay, I managed to find the search history things. What do I call it? Oh yeah, no. So I think if we click details, right? So if we check my details on this, so on the search history, so I have been summoning so often. So if we do the math, right? So on this one, I think I wasn't necessarily super unlucky because at one point I did actually have a pretty good amount. I had like 5 in a temple, I believe. Yeah, it was all from one temple. Gonna build another temple. One. Okay. Got a bang bobber. But it's been a hot minute since I had one. 42. If I look at my details here, this is where it starts getting really sad to me. So I did 30 polls. So that's 10. That's about 15 actually, or 13ish, or 12ish pity, I guess in this case. But before it, I did. Okay, this goes in kind of like the same one. 1, 2, 3. And then Jane Doe appears, which isn't necessarily like the biggest thing because getting in on 30 is not bad. But here's where the issue lies. I did a singular pool this time. As you can tell, the difference from when I summoned this one and this one is 2 hours. The reason why it was 2 hours is that because I genuinely could not find anything to use for her. I had been like scraping against the polychrome barrel essentially. And before I got this, so let's actually see how many I got through. 1, 2. That's about 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 70, 75, and about 80. And before that, I lost my 50-50 to Colada. And before that, it was about 40 polls. So, pardon me for getting a little bit mad. I actually didn't realize that the rates on this game were actually worse than Wuthering Waves. The standard rate for a S rank, in the case of Wuthering Waves, is about 0.8. I actually just realized that. And I also have to go less into banners. Granted, 0.4% for your favorite character is still kind of bad, in my opinion. I've seen games that have 0.5% that are better. However, a 0.8% chance is 0.2% better, and by 0.2% better, it's about 20% better, or, well, in actual practice, it's about 33.3% better odds. With higher pity, by the way, mind you. It's 0.6 versus 0.8. That starts making a big difference when we're talking about having to go an extra 10 pulls in before pity really starts mattering. Because for some reason, I keep losing my 50-50s. Which, by the way, even including Wuthering, I have yet to actually win a 50-50. The only time I've actually ever won that, and technically I won that, is because weapon banners are guaranteed. In the case for this thing, it's not guaranteed. From my knowledge, and in simple statistics, a 75% chance to win is a 25% chance to lose. A 1 in 4 is not great odds, especially when I go 100 times in. Getting this early would be nice. The weapon of choice, super nice. I managed to get, in about a month-ish, enough pulls to try and pull on the character, and then I could try again. It was really bad for me the first time. I didn't manage to get it. I did manage to scrape up enough here because I really wanted the character. I speak to those of you that are playing this. Hope your luck is going better than mine, for starters. But I ideally hope that you don't really torture yourself with this game. As much as I'd love you guys to just kind of waste your time with this type of stuff, I just think it would be nice to have better odds of getting things and not have it be a chance to get it on a limited edition banner type stuff. Especially, and I know these, and I've seen this happen a lot of times, and it kind of pisses me off that nobody really considers this. And I don't understand whether I understand like limited banners, but there's nothing really quite special about it. There's really nothing like a Halloween banner. Like other games have limited time banners where the characters are festival characters. If you know me from playing Master of Garden, I understand having a selection banner. Selection banners are nice. And by selection, it typically means, hey, these are the characters that could come from Halloween specifically. Those are Halloween selection banners, which is technically limited banners. Other selection types, which is basically every other standard character, right? Which, in the case, I would consider this a standard character. The reason why is because are these Halloween units, or are these characters part of the normal story? I couldn't tell you. I haven't gone to that part of the story yet because I haven't bothered with it because I've been kind of peeved about it. I also try saving my story for when I achieve things. However, I have already gone past the point where I can really just do story, which is kind of nice, because I was kind of blocked by levels, by the way. I couldn't even do Jane Doe's mission. I got her before I did Jane Doe's mission. It took me eons to get her to that level. Level 36 for a current chapter quest is really high level, and I don't understand why people don't consider that. It took me and they give you experience technically. Yeah, that is true. Well, that is true. A lot of the quests are genuinely tedious. They're actually super tedious, and I absolutely abhor it. And actually, let me show you. Let me show you a specific one. So if we go into the questing system, which is, I believe, M. Oh, no, it's not M. It's under escape. That's not it. E. Let's try E. Is that the schedule? That is the schedule. I have this amount of side quests. Well, all of these can give me 25 polychrome, an extra 20 polychrome, 25, 20, 10, 15, 20. Well, that is nice. Most of these quests are not only tedious, they're beyond difficult for the level I'm at. Some of them are just outright not doable. And or better yet, practically not touchable. Because a lot of those fights is a hard DPS check. And unless you have maxed out artifacts, a lot of these quests are not going to be doable. And I understand having difficult quests. Don't get me wrong. I don't even want to go back to the old ones. How is it that this is a first chapter quest and I can't and I could go back to this, but I don't have the recommended attribute because characters have innate resistances that I don't even know how much it is. But if it's a skill check, I don't mind doing a skill check. The problem is, if we check no, that's not it. If we check commission detail, a complete challenge, which typically ends up being it's a timer quest. This is just really whatever. A squad has never been completely defeated. So, for example, rally quests. My brother told me not to even attempt these because they're actually beyond same. You need the specific attributes to beat this, and the best part of all, they're such long fights that I wouldn't recommend this to most people. In the case of another fight, because every single one of these things randomly feels like a fighting game, and it's just like fights. There's fights, and then there's no fights randomly. And they mentioned this, by the way. They had the nerve and I'm gonna increase the bump because I can't hear anything really. They had the nerve to say they were gonna automate some of these things to skip player progression, or not to skip player progression, to ignore exploration because it's really tedious. And this is it apparently. However, in order for me to complete this, to even avoid having to do this, I needed to complete the quest first. Okay, so if this was any other quest, I wouldn't have minded it. If this was combat story, yeah, sure. Simple or scummy look. These ones don't matter. These ones really don't matter. They don't have any story to them. I can just ignore them. The exploration quests? Sure. Let's see. Because I completed a whole bunch of these, right? That's useless. The exploration quest on this one's useless. If I go back to Prologue 1, which is where a lot of exploration quests may not be done. Oh, and my game's lagging. Fantastic. It's not lagging, like, internet is connecting now. I've got a lot of complaints, and I want to be a little bit louder. And not only louder, I want to be, like, just... Because it's just been grindy. It's not been fun. I've been just trying to get the character and then just go play the game. But the game has been... Okay. Well, let me actually... Let's reconnect. Let's try. I've been trying to just play this game, and this, by the way, right now this isn't the game sold. This is just entirely my internet being just bad. I've been trying to play the game. I've been trying to see if I can just clear everything I can and get the... Because I've only been 1 or 2 characters so far. So it works. Okay. So this doesn't really matter. I need to complete any of these quests. These are fine. These are done. So the one place it matters, which would be... Let's check out Chapter 2, I guess. Let's see. Exploration quest. Nope, completed. Doesn't really matter. Chapter 2. Interlude. Let's check it out. Okay. Completed. No matter. Chapter 3, I guess, is where it's supposed to matter. Somewhat. Nope, also doesn't matter. Most of the things that I quote-unquote need to do in, like, combat, I don't know if, yeah, they do anything in story. Because it just doesn't really matter. I've got a part quest to do, which is kind of nice. But they're just a little bit difficult, to say the least. Let's go back to the chapter 1. And I do think, I guess, let's check out the circle missions. Hard difficulty. All of these are kind of okay. Yeah, they're fine. By the way, I'm almost damn sure I did this with 1 character. 1 character. I am damn sure I did this with 1 character. If the commission detail says you need to do this with 1 particular character, I did 1 character. I don't know why it's automatically changing the difficulty on this. This shouldn't be this should just generally not be so difficult at level. That's really weird. Were the hard quests automatically just aligned to my level of difficulty? Which would be funny. I didn't think they were this difficult before. Because I did this before. I don't know how I got S rank in that case. It's really weird. But yeah, no. Even for exploration stuff. Gameplay, yep, don't care. A lot of things they said that we're gonna do, they didn't really do. In the case from one of my biggest pet peeves, which is particularly the forced chain mechanic, the chain thing, which you don't have a choice over it. Even in Genshin, they have the choice of like select what you want to switch to. They have an option about it, which it's under other. I disabled this, and all it did is it doesn't automatically select that you want to fight. You can click the game, but what ends up happening is that either you lose on DPS, quote unquote, or better yet, you lose out on the chain attack, which is a big portion of the game, which I particularly don't like as much, which is perfectly fine. The issue with the chain attacks, and I will keep saying this, is having the choice to swap to a character you want should have been the same as Genshin as it is in Wuthering Waves, as it is in any other game. Me selecting what character I want to swap is something I don't like. Me not having control over that is a little bit obnoxious, because I have seen a lot of people that having the manual chain attack is such a minimum DPS increase at times, and it could be a little bit higher the more of a whale you are. For me, it's a gameplay perspective, and I don't like that gameplay aesthetic, or that gameplay mechanic. Especially since they said that we're going to take it out because people didn't seem to like it. This is a fake way to fix it. Chain attack mode is a fake way to fix it. The only way to go really about it without actually affecting your DPS is, for starters, not using a stun character so you don't have to deal with the chain mechanics often, which again lowers your DPS because a lot of the mechanics, even from the Hollow Zero, are dependent on chain mechanics. A lot of the buffs dependent on chain mechanics. Swapping to a different character dependent on chain mechanics. Counters dependent on chain mechanics. Dodges aren't, which is the only thing. That's one of the reasons I've been able to clear a lot of the game with only 2 characters. Dodging is really good in this game, and I like it. The biggest issue is that a lot of the frames can be a pain in the ass. If I were to show you a fight, which I think, let me see. Combat is a... No, it has to be a thing here. I am not quite that good. Combat missions. Nope, I think it's under Prologue 1, most likely. Combat missions. Let's try this one again. And I'm going to show you what pain it is to go through a lot of these. And pardon if I'm not necessarily showing it so fast. It's because it's literally a DPS check. Instant you play the game, it's a DPS check. Everything one of these is both a DPS and can you last the fight long enough? Mentally. Because some of these fights I have been in for 10 to 15 minutes. The reason being is because I didn't quite meet the necessary requirements for this.
There seems to be a problem with the direction of the track wheel.
Which, if we check, okay, I'm actually going to lower the volume a little bit because it is a little bit louder than I expected. In the case for something like this, right, it's pretty standard, pretty typical. You fight it, you beat it. And it's fine whenever you have a proper DPS. When I first tried this, I was using under-level characters, without any artifacts. And in such an example, I want to showcase you what I was using. And what I mean is I was using Kaleda Bellabog for 70% of the game. I have been using stun characters for 70% of my playthrough. I didn't get Jane Doe until what was essentially 2 weeks ago, basically. A little bit over 2 weeks ago. Or a little bit less than 2 weeks ago. When the banner ended, around when the banner ended, I had barely gotten Jane Doe. I thought about getting her weapon, but I couldn't even think about getting another 80 to 90 pulls. Maybe more, because my luck is that bad.
I'll make it painless.
And by the way, one of the biggest things I've noticed that most people don't do, and is most of the case from my brother, and I'm not like shaming him, is he doesn't quite know how to dodge. And neither do I, really, at times. And the reason behind it is those retarders I'm talking right now. But let's see. So, main area has been cleared. We got 2 characters in the roster. Nothing quite... There's nothing quite so nice as only... Because I'll tell you specifically. So, in the case for most of this stuff, I tried it with just Kaleda Bellabog. It was terrible. I couldn't do it. I lost my mind. What ends up happening is whenever you get to this fight, and actually, I will actually come back in whenever I can actually get to that boss fight section. You guys don't actually have to get through this. It'll be like a second for you guys. It'll take me a moment. Okay, took me part of a second. I should now be able to do the boss now. And I've fought this nerd the first time a lot of times now at this point. Oh, okay.
I'll make it painless.
Yep, I messed up a couple times.
A little gift for ya.
I think now it's become easier now that I have, like, this thing around.
Now, you're the prey.
Now I have this character. It's a lot easier than it used to be. Though granted, I still took a lot of damage from this. Though, For the record, I did this under-leveled, around level 30, I believe. Level 40, I think, ish. I did this, and this was genuinely one of the hardest skills I've had to do, because when and I know this fight now because I've fought it like 10 times on the Hollow Zero. I've had to learn the boss patterns. I know there's a fate there. When I first beat this guy, I've never been more tired, and like I think it took me like 7 minutes to beat this boss. I wish I could have recorded it. I genuinely, because I got defeated like a lot of times. I didn't get more than twice. I literally lost once with one character. And the issue really begins with this.
Don't be hit. Let's make this quick.
I'm beating it right now because I'm in the motion. Give me a moment. Because this is, again, one of the biggest things on this is that I'm hitting a sponge. It has so much health. Ooh!
Just watch me.
And as you can tell, I'm still struggling with some of this stuff.
A little gift for you. The final act begins now.
And by the way, how long have we been at this? It's 5 minutes already. My arms are starting to get tired at this point. I've been, because here's the thing, right? The first time I did this, it took me like 6-7 minutes. Not this thing. Just this fight alone took me like 7 minutes. My wrist is starting to get cramped at this point.
The pressure is on.
It died. It actually died for the first time. Well, as you can tell, I'm not necessarily perfect. I just cleared this just now. Cool. But aside from this, okay, so that entire fight took me 5 minutes to fight. Which, again, it is repetitive, right? So I say that in such a way, right? My issue is that I'm supposed to have beaten this at level 40. The stat scaling, I got extra 200 extra attack at level 40. At level 50. This character
Wanna be my research?
is not supposed to be quite as good, and I think you're not supposed to really get quite so good equipment until level 36. The issue is that even trying to get like stuff for like materials and trying to make them better is really not possible without getting like them like at least with better gear. And while it would be nice to upgrade one of these A classes, it feels kind of bad because what you're working towards, and this is what everybody did on Wuthering Waves is, and it can be a bit of a bad system, really. I just think some of the equipment system should really last much longer and be a little bit more RNG. Certainly, I don't like the concept of it, but realistically, having gear that isn't quite so dependent on RNG itself, and at least at a baseline is good enough to compete with like the most standard fights, it would be nice. Having like the correct equipment is the difference between you doing 2 to 3 times damage and you just not doing enough damage or being almost killed. And this is like pretty typical stuff. And like even in like Wuthering Waves, like having like a character that's those equipment is like the biggest difference in the world. That's the same things. Actions are positive. But the biggest difference, at least for me, in my own perspective, and I'm not necessarily like Wuthering Waves has issues. Zenless on Zero has issues. My main issue is with the gameplay can be really exciting and really fun, but the main prospect is that it takes so long to make it fun. I've been at it for a month. I have been at it for a month. Let me show you. And 10 to 15 days was spent basically doing nothing and just logging in. It's not every day. I get an achievement for it, which is really funny. Hey, thanks for spending 30 days with me. Let's actually see proxy business. Where's it at? 30 days right here. I did this over the course of, I claimed this on the 9th. I haven't been playing this quite as long. I logged in, or I finished this 2 days ago. I've been playing for this game for a month. I don't feel the rewards. I don't feel like achieved for having played this game for a month. The achievement rewards are actually much nicer here, like for this type of stuff, than in Wuthering Waves. However, the main thing is like these are by definition and by like practicality, they're two entirely different games. This is more of a fighting, like just essentially like that you take out like the exploration mechanics of Wuthering Waves. But they were released, and most of these games are just gachas. The biggest component that it makes these games comparable to each other is the gacha systems. That is primarily one, and in my opinion, the biggest component of these games. I would like it to at least not give you the fake option of getting the character you want, which, by the way, I wanted to get Nekumi Yamana, or what I call Nekumi Yamada, but it's gonna take me, and I did the math, give or take, it's gonna take you over a year or so to maybe get the character. Assuming you log in every single day, you do your dailies, you claim your New Area City Fund, so you log in daily every single day for a year to get the character that's gonna be outclassed. And I mean outclassed in 2 months. And I say 2 months in like expectation. My brother has been playing this for 2 months. Jane Doe was just gone. A little over 5 days. A little over 5 days, she was still here.
Which alias should I use this time?
She is the replacement for her.
I'll help you win. The lunch is...
She is a better character than she is. They both can work together. But in a practical sense, she like just destroyed Nekamiya. Having different characters, having a better character than the ones before, makes your characters more summonable. And even having, because I will actually describe to you what I said.
Which
I'm gonna lower the
alias
volume a
should I
little bit.
use this time?
I have a little more audible because I've been like a little bit mad. I need to hear it. So Ellen Joe, first limited, one of the strongest characters I've seen. My brother has this character maxed out. I've seen what she can do. She's really strong character. She's had the best supports from like basically the beginning. There's really a couple of things that just been like bad about her. She goes well with her, and she goes absolutely fantastic with him. My brother has only had the issue that he hasn't been able to get him. But let's talk a little bit about practical teams. Fire has a couple of characters that actually are usable. There's about to be a new character that's Fire that's about to be usable. That's fine. Actually, I want to lower the audio volume because I just want to hear my own thoughts a little bit more. But let's actually talk about it, right? So
a mission? Take me along.
Okay, Stance, let's look at it. So this is a shield character, second or third shield character in the game period. So he actually the third or second shield character. The newest one is a shield character. So let's include that one. She's a DPS. She's fine. She's she is a standard fire character. She's basically Diluc. She is the equivalent of Diluc in the game. If you play Diluc, cool. She is the equivalent in Wuthering Race, for example. She is the equivalent of. I wouldn't necessarily even say Chang-Li. She's kind of like the equivalent of. I wouldn't even say Shishia, because Shishia like does something like way less damage. Mortifi, I think, is kind of like good damage. There's nothing else really to it. It just does a lot of damage. This is a standard DPS character. A shield character that does decent, that has a lot of practicality, a lot of different things that she is really good at. She is a limited 5-star S rank, whatever. She is a defense character. She's quite good. All of the characters that have been released from limited banners are disgustingly better than the new ones. And if we're talking about like stability, like getting like a game to like, there's a lot more characters of choice, so to say, but the characters that matter are the limited, and not even having like the option of getting them after like these characters release is the annoying part about it.
Awaiting further instructions.
And to me, a lot of gacha games don't even do this, and I think it genuinely should be really talked about a little bit more. And I know I'm ranting. I know I'm ranting so much. And I want to like keep my own thoughts, like my own thoughts in like my head. It's really hard to whenever my headphones are just gone. And I just keep thinking about it, right? I haven't been able to enjoy the game. It's like the biggest thing. I haven't been able to enjoy the game. Most of the characters just don't look like they play quite as well, or are not my favorite. That's literally what brings it up. There's really none of the characters I've gone other than Jane Doe, which I had to work my ass off. They had to skim some stuff. I need different music, so like the music's kind of pissing me off a little bit.
After a busy day at work, you're at the right place.
I do like this music a little bit, so we're gonna just keep that in the background. So the game has just been what I consider one of the most tedious things I've done in my entire life. A month of playing this game has been so bad to me. As much as I like the character designs, actually truly immaculate. They're really pretty. They're really like jiggly. That's all I can say. Getting a character is nearly impossible because the game's like I have to go to pity. Realistically, I have to go to pity. I genuinely like getting pity on some of these characters, at least in the beginning when I'm just trying to get into the game, is really hard. I'm trying. I'm genuinely. I feel like a wage slave or something like that is what people call people playing these games. Pardon me for the term, and apologies if somebody gets offended by it. This is a month. It's only been a month. It's only been a month, and I feel like I'm so tired. This game has tired me out. One of the biggest just contenders on it is just the heaviness and the amount of character. Like, is just some of the clunkiness at times of the fighting system is really tiresome and is really sometimes repetitive because you have to rely on counters. You have to rely on dodges so much. Like, I can't attack. Like, I think like half the time I'm trying to dodge a character's hit. And as understandable as that is, there's not quite enough balance where I'm actually hitting the game. And even when I am hitting it, I'm hitting a brick wall. It took me 5 minutes to finish a fight. I know I'm nowhere in my. I'm nowhere near the level like Wuthering Waves is. Some of the fights in like the standard gameplay is fine. This is the base standard. The base standard is long play. I don't want to play this, and I'm giving it basically 2 more weeks. Basically, I'm gonna log in daily. I'm gonna claim my dailies, and I'm gonna do what I can to see if I can get Caesar. Once I get Caesar, we'll have to see if I continue playing the game. Because genuinely, the only thing that this has that is that is remotely in any way, shape, or form like nice has been this game mode. Like the mini games are fantastic, and I feel like I'm like kind of like okay, the game's loading, whatever. Man, some games just have different ways to just kind of get to under Michigan. The gacha rates are really bad. I have seen gacha rates that are bad. This is 0.3% rate for you getting your character. That is a realistic rate. Every single time you pull, there's every single 10 pulls, you have a 3% chance. I'm in the top 1%. That's kind of cool. There's a 3% chance of you getting the character you want. There's a 3% chance of you getting the character you want. I would like to just have like just. I'm so tired, man. Like people, like I had somebody like I was playing this with like just somebody like watching me a little bit because I was like, hey, I want to show you like this character, whatever. I was having somebody watch me, and I lost, and and I won, and I'm like, and I someone that like I did my tempos because genuinely my tempos are so bad, it's not even worth a video. They're so bad, I don't even like. I feel ashamed playing. Because realistically, the main thing is like I get enough pulls to try and get a character, I summon on it, and then I'm one. The problem is I expect myself to lose the 50-50. When? God knows. It's like essentially a bit of a gamble this one. I don't even want to showcase it. I have got 30 pity. Not 30 pity. I lost my 50-50 in 30 pulls. And as nice as getting a getting a 5-star in 30 pulls is, I've had that happen twice, like 3 times in a row. I had this happen the first time. I had this happen in here. Lost it, got it in 10 pulls. That's fine. I don't care about this manner. If this happens on this manner, which it did, I'm starting to lose my shit. Because the rates having a 50% chance to lose is something that is genuinely just obnoxious. And I know that's the same case for Wuthering Waves. I'm not saying they're free. The problem is, like, Wuthering Waves is giving me a lot of things, and I've actually forgotten enough time, and I've even done a free limited 5-star. We're about the same place that Chun-Li would have released, because we've had 4 different 5-stars so far, essentially. I'm gonna call them 5-stars, you know what? I don't care. They're 5-stars in my book. I don't like it when everybody has their own name. I actually hate that so much. So we've had let's actually count, right? Let's do the count. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it? No, 5. They've had 5 5-stars in a matter of like basically 2 months. I think that's fine. I think having 5 of them is perfectly fine. Problem, and I know I haven't been playing this much, is that for somebody that kind of left the game in the beginning of the month, trying to play it is nearly impossible because I can't I got a character I wanted. Like I'm being greedy at this point. The main issue is just I've had no want to play this game because the game mechanics are kind of bad. The rates are really bad in my opinion. 0.6% chance of getting a character you want. They do this crap. They do this 1.6% chance additive with the guarantee. Is BS. I think that's some BS. Because they're essentially faking you out. The base rate, this is including guaranteed. So you have a 1% chance after statistically adding a guaranteed. The chance of you getting a 5-star is a 0.6% chance every single pull. You do 30 pulls, cool, you can maybe get one early. 30 pulls is a what? There's a 0.3% chance, right? So there's a 50-50s are something insane to me. It's a 0.3% chance, and the other 0.3% chance doesn't matter. Mathematically speaking, it's a 0.3% chance of you winning it. Assuming you do get it, then we talk about it. Because let's assume it's a 0.6% chance, right? 0.6. After the 0.6 arrives, then there's a 0.3% chance you get the character you want. It's a 0.3% chance of you getting the character you want. Every single time. I haven't beaten the odds so far, even in Wuthering Waves. I've had that happen twice now. Actually, no, we're at 3. I lost it here. I lost it with Jane Doe. I even lost it with Yin Lin. I was trying to summon for Yin Lin, to be honest with you. I tried to summon on Yin Lin. Didn't go so well. Had to skip the next runner. Thankfully, Jeja, as nice as she is, didn't have to summon her. Didn't need Jinxie, didn't want Jinxie. I had enough summons for both Chang Li and almost basically getting the second, trying to get her again and maybe losing the 50-50. I got like 40 pulls on that banner. I'm tired. And all I can say is my time here has been a slow mental it's been slow mental degradation. The events are cool. Some of them are nice. The story is probably the biggest thing that's worth it here. This is a doubling up event, which is not even a true doubling up event. I think even these, even Wuthering Waves gives you more drops. The reason I say this is because they double the output of your materials, right? Well, Wuthering Waves doesn't necessarily double your materials, your upgrade mass, which really doesn't matter because you don't need as many as you think. There's also 90 levels, right? The biggest thing about it is that doubling your materials is only for 5, so about 1.5 tries, give or take, or 1.6% chance that, or 1.6% of a dungeon, 1.666% of a dungeon. Because look, when I say 1.66% chance, the basic amount of stamina that you consume is 3 cards. This is what you pull. This is 1 time. This is 66%. This is faster by technicality because you don't have to do so many rotations. The problem that ends up happening is that you do one of these ones, and you only get the rewards for 1.6% of them. It's a little bit better in the prospect of 1.5 times the bonus is what you get. So after it's whatever. And in Wuthering Waves, you get it for 3 full clears essentially. It's really weird. I may do the math on that stuff later. It's really hard to describe it, but essentially for the same amount of the same amount of stamina, 120 is how much you can spend in Wuthering Waves. But you get to clear the event 3 times. Even if we only go by the stamina consumption, you get to spend an extra 20% stamina with the bonus on. What is this? Hamster, cage pass, precious item used for items if there's advanced skills. That's cool. Overlord's Feast. Neato. Oh, they're giving out a friggin' Lucy. Look at that. Alright, I haven't looked at some of the stuff. I've kind of been tired. I haven't even done the R&D because I didn't finish up some of the events. Regardless. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm probably gonna write a little bit more on the game one, the stuff. This video was supposed to be perhaps uploaded on Friday. I'm pretty tired. We'll see if it gets uploaded. We shall see. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And share on my takes if you want it. If you're enjoying the game, that's all that matters. Spend money if you want to. I personally have been aggravated by the game. Not literally, but I have been just paying. The game modes can be really fun at times, but they need to be done differently and a little bit more accessible at times. It's not a difficult game, but good God, I don't hate difficulty and having a lot of a big health bar does not go well together because I can only keep up the fights for maybe 7 minutes, and 7 minutes is a lot of time. There's a lot of times if you fuck up once. If you fuck up once, you have to do that fights again. If you fuck up twice, that's again, and it progressively gets longer and longer fights. I have spent hours in some of these fights, and that's my main issue. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Stay solid. Bye-bye.